Hey guys, I'm here recapping the UFC on ABC Whittaker versus DeRitter card. Now, I personally found this to be a relatively fun card, but I can easily see why other people didn't find this one too fun. Overall, I'd give this like a 6.5 out of 10, but let's start with the early prelim opener of Martin Buday versus Marcus Almeida. And, Almeida is very inexperienced. Buday took this somewhat seriously. You can see in the change of physique from his last fight, he's actually shedded off a few pounds and showed a pretty almost decent, well-rounded skill set. Uh, First round was very close, with Boudet outlanding Marcus Almeida in the early parts, and Almeida coming back to land more and more as the round ended. He realized that he was being outboxed on the feet, forced his way into the clinch, and started landing big knees to the body. I wish he stuck with that for the rest of the fight, but that was basically the entirety of round one. Boudet was defending the takedowns very, very well. And heading into round two, Almeida gets a takedown finally. And complete domination. Boudet couldn't get up. Almeida was attacking on multiple submission attempts. Boudet had to defend a few of them. There was a point in time where Almeida took his back and was hunting for a rear naked choke. He didn't get it. Then there was another time where he had a Kimura, but he tried to keep position. There's times where he'd give up the back and go for a cradle, far side or near side. Didn't really matter for him. As long as he was able to get to that cradle, his positional awareness is very, very good. I think he's going to be a problem in this weight class. But Martin Boudet was a little too much too early. Round 3 domination from Boudet for the majority of the round. Almeida gets on top, but his cardio just wasn't good enough to hold up. If he was a little fresher, he probably would have got that. And somehow, Almeida looks like a light heavyweight. It's so weird. He's a solid 250 plus pounds, but he has a 205ers frame at 265 pounds. Next fight up, we have Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen. Yo, what was Herzog on this fight? Herzog was smoking that good shit because this fight should have been stopped multiple times. It ended up going to a doctor stoppage at the end of round 2. I shit you not, Muhammad Yahya got knocked down 8 times. Every solid punch Stephen Nguyen landed knocked down Yahya. And honestly, Yahya could have had some success. I didn't understand what his game plan was. He's only throwing these giant, wide, taxing moves, spinning back kicks, spinning elbows, spinning back fists, giant overhands, no setup, flying switch knees, flying switch front kicks. It was just such a confusing performance from Muhammad Yahya. While Stephen Nguyen was just keeping a high guard, jab, big two, drops him, counter on the break with the left hook, drops him. Every solid punch Stephen Nguyen landed dropped him, and I'm going to look at the official stats real quick. Stephen Nguyen almost doubled him on the feet. Almost doubled him in significant strikes. And they awarded him 6 knockdowns. I'm telling you, it was 8. He got 8 legit knockdowns in this fight. Credit to Yahya for hanging in there, but it needed to end way, way earlier. Honestly, his corner needs to be investigated too. Because if I'm cornering somebody and you get knocked down like 4 times in the first round, with the round ends with you being knocked down and your opponent trying to finish you, and the ref just going, there's a few seconds left, I'll let him take this damage. I'm throwing in the towel. He did nothing. And, cut Yahya from the UFC. That's 0-3. Yeah, cut him. Cut him. Next up, we have Ibo Aslan versus Billy Elikana. I shit you not, Ibo Aslan did nothing for 15 minutes and then looked surprised that he lost the decision. Billy Alicata clearly outlanded him, clearly landed more than him. And Evo Aslan did nothing for 3 rounds. He just fucking stared at him. He'd miss a punch, or a punch would land. It looked like it went a little low. He'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry," laugh it off, and then go back to fucking losing. I don't feel bad for this dude at all. And he had the nerve to look surprised at the end of the fight. Like he didn't just do nothing for 15 minutes with his career on the line. One of the most important fights of your career. Bounce back after your first loss in the UFC. And you just did nothing. Genuinely an insanely baffling performance from both fighters. But hey, at least Alicana got rocked him twice in round 3, kind of. Ricci versus Hebos is the next fight up on this card, and Ricci kind of did what Ricci does. Neil Magny did it up. Tied her up on the fence, landed some nothing strikes. Hebos was out striking her at range. When they were on the feet at range, Hebos was outlanding her massively. And just exposing her for not having good stand-up. But then Ricci would shoot a takedown, fail a takedown, get to the clinch, and hold her against the fence. Knees to the thigh, foot stomps, that kind of shit. Hebos had a couple times where she'd hit a really cool judo throw. And just show that she's bigger and way more physical than Ricci. But in round 2, when it really looked like Hebos might start to pull away, Ricci just straight up fucking KOs her. It was such a weird thing to see out of nowhere. It hits her with an elbow that just shatters her fucking orbital. I don't know if her orbital really is broken, but like she got hit right on the orbital and then just crumbled. And Ricci got a nasty TKO and had a more fun fight than Evo Aslan. That's something I never thought I'd be saying, but 2025 has brought a lot of surprising shit out. Next up on the card, we have Davy Grant versus Damone the Monster Blackshear. Davy Grant turned back the clock and exposed Damone Blackshear, just as I said. I thought it was gonna be a finish. It ended up being a decision. Davy Grant wins rounds 2 and 3 after honestly getting dominated in round 1. Blackshear started this fight very strong, landing really good strikes, got his takedown, and took his back. And Blackshear on your back for 2.5 minutes is just not something you want to deal with. Dave Grant didn't get up for the rest of the round and had to just deal with Blackshear mogging him in the grappling. Honestly, it was a really good performance from Blackshear. But then round 2, Blackshear starting to slow down. Davy Grant picks it up, starts landing some nasty combinations. Finishing his combinations off with head kicks that are glancing off the temple, and just swarms him for the entirety of round 3. Very good performance from Davy Grant. He could be looking at a ranked opponent next. That's 2 or 3 in a row. And some very, very close fights in the fights that he loses. I'm putting up quotation marks, you can't see me. But very good and crafty performance from Davy Grant. Next up, we have Muslim Salikov versus Carlos Leal. What'd I tell you? Leal swings way too wide. He's super fucking reckless. And Muslim Salikov is tight, precise, and is just a really good martial artist. He's the king of Kung Fu for a reason. Sleeps Leal out cold with the first punch he lands. Like the first solid punch he lands. Just out cold one punch. 42 seconds into the fight, Leal's not moving anymore. I don't know if the brother is even awake. But that's basically the entirety of that fight. Leal's pressing forward. He throws a little bit, then gets dead shotted out cold. Next up on the fight card, we got the main event of the prelims. We got Bryce Mitchell versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. This was a fun scrap. Saeed lost this fight because Saeed is a fucking idiot. I don't know what the hell this dude was doing. He fumbled so many finishes in this fight. multiple times where he could have won this fight. He was clear as day the better fighter, but would make dumb mistakes. And Mitchell made a lot of dumb mistakes too, but Mitchell capitalized on Saeed's mistakes way better than Saeed, which would make Bryce Mitchell the better fighter, higher fight IQ. But Saeed was just technically better, much better stand up, much better work in the clinch, really good on the ground, and then he just gives shit up. Bryce is shooting on a single leg, and this dude's looking for a guillotine. Stop looking for the guillotine. Bryce is actually a good grappler. Stuff his head down and get away. Gets taken down. Would get a sub attempt and then just give up the position. Now Bryce did this a few times too, but Bryce would go for different kinds of subs that were position based, like head and arm triangles. Saeed's goes on this guillotine, and I'm like, oh, that's tight. He kind of has it. Oh, is he gonna transition this to something else? Take him out? Take the back? Nope. Oh, he's just gonna give up good dominant position and lose the fight. Hard fought decision win from Bryce Mitchell. What is Saeed doing? That Nurmagomedov name is I don't know, man. I don't know what this brother's doing. Next up, to open up the main card, we have Bogdan Guskov versus Nikita Krylov. Anthony Smith on paper. Bogdan Guskov really might be Anthony Smith on paper, because on paper, he flatline KOs Nikita Krylov, and in practice, he did the same shit. He knocked Nikita Krylov out bad. It was a really close and competitive fight beforehand. Nikita landing his strikes, kind of. Bogdan landing his strikes, kind of. It was back and forth, and then Bogdan just sleeps him out cold. He just decides, you've been awake too long, go to sleep. Out cold. And it wasn't too much to talk about the fight. They were jabbing, leg kicking, throwing twos at range. Nikita Krylov rushes in, Bogdan sleeps him. Overhand right, fast as shit. Just sleeps him directly on the chin. Next up on this card, we have Asu Almabayev versus Jose Ochoa. Asu Almabayev basically just out-grapples Ochoa for the entirety of round one. There was some good moments on the feet from Ochoa, but mainly is Almabayev shooting the takedowns, getting him down, holding him on the fence, holding him on the ground. Just out-grapples him from round one. But Ochoa is standing his ground, especially in round two. Ochoa really starts to stand his ground. Really is more than willing to engage in the grappling. There's some really wild and cool scrambles, some really cool exchanges. He goes for some really cool techniques that look cool. But then again, Asu's shooting on this takedown. Ochoa's close to defending it, and he just pulls a guillotine. It looked kind of tight. Asu doesn't tap, fights the hands, and then gets out. Now he's on top. Ochoa starts looking for a triangle, doesn't get it. And just loses the round, getting folded in half. Not from a punch or anything, but because Asu's literally folding him in half as Ochoa's folding himself in half, trying to look for this triangle choke. It was a really, really, really weird thing, but he went for it. And then round three starts, same story. Asu finally gets the takedown after Ochoa defends a few of them. Ochoa throws up a triangle. It gets kind of close. He misses it. Goes for an armbar. Looks kind of close. Can't get it. Transitions back to the triangle. Puts it in. Doesn't matter. And then Asu Almabayev lands some really, really nasty elbows to try to slash open through his guard. Next up on the card, we have the feature fight of the card. We have Sharaputin Makhmedov versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This is a Sharaputin Makhmedov we've been waiting for. Genuinely sensational performance. He was looking good. He got tested. He got pushed. This is the kind of fight that a prospect like Makhmedov grows from, and while being a great showcase for his talents. He had to work for this win. Round one was all Shara. landing whatever he wanted: front kicks, round kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, big punches, brutal clinch work the entire fight. Clear round one for Sharaput Magomedov. But in round two, Mark Andre is still getting cooked. It is a Shara Magomedov show. Bang! Mark Andre lands a nasty right hand. I think it breaks his nose open. Shara's face is covered in blood. He's rocked. He's wobbled. He's still trying to get his wits about him. Then he starts working the clinch. Brutal knees to the body. Elbows in tight. Uppercut elbows. Knees to the face. Knees back down to the body. And he rocks Mark Andre at the end of round two. Mark Andre's like running away from the fight because after he lands that huge right hand, he doesn't do anything really with it. And Shara is able to literally fight his way back into the round and steal it. He stole round two, but I'm pretty sure Mark Andre might have broken his nose in that second round, which makes round three even more impressive because Sharaputin just beats the dog shit out of Mark Andre for the entirety of round three. Mark Andre had very, very little success, if any, in round three. Shara hurt him on multiple occasions. It was just a very, very cool looking performance from Shara. Nasty, brutal clinch work. Knees to the body, forcing his head off to the side, knee to the head, elbows in close. It was a nasty performance. And the Muay Thai ability of Sharaput Magomedov is just on display perfectly in that fight. Next up, we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Petr Yan versus Marcus McGee. Vintage performance from Petr Yan. Marcus McGee was game, he was tough, he was there every step of the way. But Yan was a few steps ahead of him. McGee outlands Yan in round one, but Yan landed the much better strikes. And one thing that was apparent was a giant difference in power. I thought McGee would have the power advantage because he puts it on people and breaks people. But every time Yan landed, McGee went flying across the octagon. But I would still give round one to Yan. Yan was landing some really, really, really good strikes. And even though McGee outlanded Yan in round one, Yan clearly had the much bigger moments. When he would hit McGee, McGee would go flying. He stumbled McGee with a right hand. It was a really good round one from Yan, and a really good round one from Marcus McGee, too. I thought he was winning that round up until getting rocked by Yan. Round two is really, really... Wait, no. Round one is actually a Marcus McGee round. I completely forgot. Yan was up, and then he got cracked on the tip of his chin, and it stumbled him for a little bit against McGee. No, McGee round one. That was a McGee round. I'm sorry, that was a bad breakdown. But round two, Petr Yan locks in, starts sitting up in the seat, starts every punch he lands on Marcus McGee, sends McGee flying. Close round two. I think there were even on significant strikes in round two. But Yan wobbled this dude, had this boy on skates on like two different occasions. So you got to give round two to Yan. And then round three was the Petr Yan just transformed into Merab, held him against the fence, and kneed him to the thigh for literally like 4 minutes straight. I couldn't believe my eyes. He got a little ahead on the feet, hitting him with some good shots, outlanding him, and then he just Merabs him on the side of the cage. And for the viewers who are watching who doesn't know what Merabbing someone is, it literally just means he's holding him against the cage while landing nothing strikes. Those knees to the thigh, yeah, they hurt, but you're not going to stop the fight with that. So it's a nothing strike. It leads to nothing. And that's how Yan wins the third round, and you got to give Yan the fight. Very close fight. McGee's definitely a contender. I'd say give McGee... They're probably going to book him against Patchy Mix, but I'd say give him Montel Jackson. I feel like that's a proper fight for that. And in the main event, we got Robert Whittaker versus Reiner de Ritter. Close fight. It was a split decision. I understand giving it to Whittaker, but watching it live, I thought de Ritter did win. Maybe on rewatch, I can look at some of the strikes Whittaker landed in that fifth round more, but I'll just break down what happened. Round one is the Whittaker show. Whittaker is looking insane, landing at will. He's in, he's out. Everything he lands on de Ritter is having a visible effect on him, is wobbling him. He's not liking it. And then round two starts, and Whittaker is doing more of the same. But de Ritter finally gets him down. It's like on his seventh takedown attempt, he finally gets Whittaker down and is able to hold Whittaker there for the rest of the round. Basically spending the entirety of round two on top of Whittaker. Round three starts. De Ritter marches forward, lands a brutal knee to the body. And it looked like Whittaker was about to get stopped to that knee. It was a really brutal knee. And then Whittaker drops de Ritter. De Ritter goes down bad. It looks like he's out cold. Whittaker starts landing some solid ground and pound. It's not just this basic bitch bullshit of the Yair Rodriguez little kid smacking you on the side of the head. No, I mean, he jumps into his guard. Giant elbow, giant elbow, giant elbow, giant right hand, giant left hand. And he kind of spends all his energy trying to go for the finish. De Ritter was able to survive it somehow and reverse position. When he reverses the position, he kind of holds Whittaker in place for about the rest of the round, but he does literally nothing with that. So you gotta give round three to Whittaker. So now we're 2-1 heading into round four. Round four is all de Ritter. De Ritter's landing is working harder in the clinch, and he gets a takedown. And it's all Whittaker. I mean, all de Ritter. All de Ritter. By straight up Merabbing him. Turned into the 185-pound Merab and just holds him on the cage, using that physicality advantage, using that strength advantage to hold him there as long as possible. Whittaker would then break and land a few strikes, but it was a little too late, too little. Basically, Whittaker was just catching his breath. It seemed like the back half of round three, most of round four, it was Whittaker catching his breath. Then Whittaker breaks out the clinch and just starts throwing. Does well, keeps it competitive in round four. Now round five starts and Whittaker understands that he's going to spend at least half the round on the fence. So he tries to land the best shots he can while he's at range, when he's able to get at range. But de Ritter spent so much time in round five holding Whittaker on the cage that they just gave it to de Ritter. One judge gave it to Whittaker, but the other two gave it to de Ritter. I don't mind it, but I don't like it either. You know, I'm a pretty big fan of both of these fighters, but to watch de Ritter win a fight like that, like the most cowardly way possible, by avoiding a fight and just holding Whittaker against the fence, I get it. He did land like 40 good knees to the body, but especially in that fifth round, he was really just holding on to him. Whittaker would break free, land a few shots, and get taken right back to the same position. Good work from de Ritter, but it leaves a lot to be desired. It's not the kind of performance that you need to have if you're talking about Chimaev or Duplessis. Get back in line, fight the winner of Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Dolidze. And it was a bad look for de Ritter, but he's going to be a tough matchup for literally everyone in the weight class. And this kind of validates what I had been saying about de Ritter for a long time. He beats Adesanya. 3 years ago, I was saying he beats Adesanya. I fully believe that now. He beats Israel Adesanya. But until next time, when we break down Albazi versus Tatsuro Taira, that is everything. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Show me where I can be doing better. I'm always trying to make higher quality content for you guys. And until next time.